You've only got about 3 pounds of bacteria and bugs living inside of you and on top of you. But what if I told you that these bugs can actually read your thoughts and then help direct your thoughts and control you? Let's dig into that now. Hey everyone, Dr. Pries here. The bugs inside of us can actually feel our emotions. If you watch any of my other videos about the microbiome, dysbiosis, and the bugs inside of us and on us, then you know there are 10 times more bugs on top of us and inside of us than we have living cells in our body. This is crazy. But what if I told you that they are reading our thoughts, they're controlling our thoughts, they're feeding into how we have our days and whether or not we have a good or a bad day. So think the way I like to do this is go through some sort of an analogy. So you ever go out to eat, you see a group of men or women, and they're all together. They're just gossiping maybe about their husbands or their wives. And now sometimes there's these groups that it's like, you know what? Yeah, he's too good for you. But they'll be like all of a sudden the husband does something wrong, and all the women chime in like, oh yeah, you're way out of his league now. He's not good enough for you. You need to move on. Or like, all the guys are together and, guy's complaining about his wife and the guys are like, dude, you need to just get away from her, blah, blah, blah. You need to just divorce her. Well, maybe that's not really the answer and they're just pushing you in the wrong direction. But that's kind of how I would relate the bugs in your body. That's kind of how they operate. They're going to be either working with you or against you. And that depends on the population, okay? Are they going to just fuel the fire and make things worse, make the relationship more stressed? Or are they going to just be supportive and talk to you about like conflict resolution, suggest counseling? Or are they just going to go straight for like, oh, you need to break up, you need to leave this person? So one thing to note, the bugs within our gut in particular, they actually have stress receptors, and particularly for norepinephrine, which is one of the stress hormones and neurotransmitters that comes out when we are stressed. So they can actually sense when we are stressed. That means stressful morning, that means lack of sleep, stress during activity, all of those things. They can sense it. So they detect this norepinephrine, and as a result, they become more sticky. They stick to you more, which means it's harder to get rid of some of the bad bugs. Okay, they actually reproduce more, okay, which is what you don't want them to do. And they also create more toxins, endotoxins. The problem with that is it's almost like a mob mentality where it kind of like spreads like wildfire. And you start to get stressed out, you start to get angry, the bugs start to get angry, and there's this like ferocity that just occurs, unfortunately. The worst part about it is when you are stressed and you get more of these toxins produced from the gut bugs in your bacteria in your microbiome, what's going to happen is they produce more toxins that releases cytokines in our body, and these cytokines can actually cross the blood-brain barrier, and that's going to cause inflammation in the brain. What does this affect? This also poorly affects your mood. It increases your levels of fatigue. It decreases your memory. You're going to have more memory issues, trouble learning new things, and it's going to mess with your learning pathways, and it can lead to anxiousness, and chronically this leads to depression and many other issues. But overall, if you have a healthier gut with more balanced populations of these gut species, of these microbiome species, then you're going to have less flame on the fire, okay? These people are going to be, these bugs will be more of like advocating for you. They're with you. They're very supportive of you, and instead of trying to just throw fuel on the fire, okay? Basically, when you have a healthier microbiome, it's less toxic friends, more supportive friendships, and we need to be in community with the bugs in our belly, in our gut. Okay, have them supportive rather than destructive. How do you do that? Well, it all starts with diet. That's the biggest impactor on the gut microbiome and health of the microbiome. So that means a diet rich in vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, berries, clean meats, clean water. Of course, avoiding allergens if that applies to you. For most people, that would be gluten, dairy, soy. But I hope you learned something today. These bugs are really in tune with us, so making sure that we have a healthy relationship with them is absolutely imperative. Hope you learned something.